we spent the past couple of years in a crazy hot market. Louisville home sales decline as demand outpaces supply. Effective communication is at the core of any situation. If you master these two ideas, you'll have a chance of being successful at residential real estate marketing. I think you need to be looking for investment opportunities that move the needle. The market will never crash if demand exceeds supply. This is what I've been telling you all along.
This is the Jay Pitts Show. And we're back, folks. Welcome back to the Jay Pitts Show. I'm your host, Jay Pitts, here with Ryan Harris. What's up, man?
Not much. I don't have much pre-show talk for us today.
You're always so subdued. I'm like very excitable.
Takes me a while to get into it.
And it's like, I'm like, hey, what's going on, man? And you're like, hi.
Yeah.
It's like, hey,
You
what's
know,
up?
I'm like Friedman. Is that who it is?
You lost me.
Oh, what's his name? He's a podcaster, wears a black suit all the time.
It's not Milton Friedman, is it?
No. Oh, I can't remember. Whatever.
Well, it's all good.
It was people in the office were talking earlier today about how I'm just like the same always.
Always even. That's okay.
There's been a couple times they see me upset in here though, and everybody's like, "Whoa!" Like,
Whoa,
you kind of get mad.
You kind of get angry.
Yeah.
Ryan doesn't have a migraine today, so that's nice.
Yeah, I'm good.
He champed it out last time, and actually, when
that was a great show.
When we wrapped the podcast, he goes, "I feel better now than I did before." So something about recording the podcast makes you feel good, I guess.
Talking to Jay's mind numbing.
Oh, there you go. There you go. I love it.
Yeah, I don't have anything really to talk about before the topics we have today. Do you have anything?
No, man. Let's just see where it goes. You know how it is.
Yeah, cool. So we do have a real estate heavier show today.
Yep.
This is a real estate show where we don't talk about real estate too much. We do well here and there.
Yeah, when it's important. I mean, we like to do a little pop culture. We like to do a little current events. We like to do some Louisville interest stories.
Well, I think with the podcast, it becomes super boring even to the people doing it if you're only talking about the topic you're supposed to talk about and not the things I don't know. It's just like it wants to feel like you're talking to a friend.
Absolutely.
I think that's the best way to do it.
Conversational, informative, but not super self-important.
Yeah.
That's kind of, and that's the way it goes. Like, you know, I've got a lot of information. We've got a lot of information to share and impart, but it can be too much.
Yeah.
So anyway.
I'm trying to remember. There's a story I told last podcast that had me laughing for a while, and I can't remember that story.
Yeah. This is called Dad Brain.
Oh, dude, it's bad.
Dude, Dad Brain. It works. But you know, I mean, hey.
This morning, my wife asked me to bring a jacket down for her, and I had to run up there and grab something. I got the one thing I thought of first, completely forgot about her jacket.
Yeah.
It just happens all the time.
Yeah. You didn't do the one thing that was your purpose for going to the place you went, but you come back with something else.
I've also realized when I'm on my phone doing anything like looking at work or an email, I can't hear anything else. Yes. But I will say like,
I'll agree with that. Like I've been trying. So are you, this is a little current event, maybe not really current event. Three Body Problem. Are you familiar with the show?
I'm familiar. Haven't watched it. I really want to.
Okay. I started watching, no spoilers. I started watching it, on Saturday night. Jen was going to read. She went to bed early. The kids were down. So I was like, you know, whatever. Poured myself a little cocktails, what I usually do when I'm like alone, and start watching. Watch the first episode, great. Start the second episode. It's starting to get kind of late. You know, I start to feel a little sleepy, and I hate this because I don't know if it's just me at my age or whatever with kids and a lot going on, being very active. Past about 10 o'clock, it's really hard to stay focused and interested in something like that without falling asleep.
Oh, yeah.
So, like, I'm like, okay, well, I'll start kind of like thumbing through my phone a little bit, like while the show's going on, thinking, okay, I'll stay awake a little longer. And then I just gave up, but I realized I watched almost the entire second episode, but I didn't watch it. I don't
probably have no idea what happened.
I have no clue what happened.
It's like reading a page in a book and getting done with that page. You're like, I don't remember one word.
Not
from this
one
page.
single thought from that page. What happened on that page? I had to go back and watch the entire second episode again. And as bad as that sounds, I fell asleep again. But I did make it through like 45 minutes. Took me no time to finish the second episode. Very good so far. A little bizarre. So we'll see where it goes. I'm not going to, like I said, I promised I won't give any spoilers.
I think everybody probably does that a little bit.
Yeah.
I do think some people have a gift of just walking into any movie or show it is. I can't do that.
To me, it puts me down. I'm done. Yeah. Especially if I'm horizontal, like not in bed. You can't be in bed, and I can't be sitting too comfortably either, because then I'm out.
Yeah. So I'm getting to the point now where my son's finally starting to sleep good, knock on wood, and we're like not really taking a bottle throughout the night now. Maybe fixes Passy once or twice. Like goes down at 7, wakes up at 7.
Woo.
It's pretty awesome. So
life changing.
Yeah, like I used to stay up till maybe I've never been a night owl. I'm definitely a morning person, but I would stay up till maybe 11. My wife usually goes to sleep before I do, and I would watch a TV show or something. And now I'm like battling: do I go to bed now and feel really good in the morning, or maybe stay up till 11 and still feel okay?
I will say this, and this has been something that we've talked about on the show since I've about 3+ years now of very consistent, like 4 to 5 to 6 days a week in working out. I've noticed that I have to go to bed earlier. Like, and especially, I'm coaching on top of that, which is extremely physical. We had baseball practice last night, football practices 4 to 5 days a week. I've got a 4-year-old in T-ball now, which is not extremely taxing, but it's something. You got baseball games, you're coaching on the weekends, you're at the ballpark 7, 8, 10 hours, or you play golf. I mean, like, you add those activities on top of going to the gym and like an hour of really hard physical exertion. Like, I put the kids down at 9 o'clock. I go to my bed the second I put them down. And I might be up for 30, 45, an hour, but it ain't much longer than that. Mm-hmm. Like, it's toast. It's lights out.
Here we go, riffing on stuff that's no topics about today, but this is good.
There you go.
I find myself, so with Twitter now, X, I've been trying to not be on it from 9 to 5 during the day. It's been good. Okay. And maybe even past 5, really until I'm done with like all my emails or calls or deals I'm working. So I get on in the morning. I've been honestly deleting the app most days, and then I'll re-download it at night and scroll for like an hour. But
that's funny.
It's been good.
Yeah, I tend to keep it on a second screen.
Yeah.
Like while I work,
because it is like news though. Is the thing.
There's a lot of news there.
Now, what I've had to start doing, I feel like I've been getting too much conspiracy stuff on my feed.
So you gotta curate.
And I think
your
it's
feed
on there because it is interesting to read a lot of the stuff that people come up with.
But you got to resist.
But I've been muting those accounts now, or not interested, and now my feed's clearing up a lot, and it's like more current events, and not like really far off conspiracy.
Like
theories.
Why did we blow up the Nord Stream 2 pipeline? Like that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
like,
yeah. And
well, you got to know when World War III breaks out, Ryan. You got to know this.
I hope I would know without having to check Twitter.
Honestly,
actually,
I
hope I don't want to know without checking Twitter. I hope there's nothing going on here.
Yeah, I don't think that. Well, we could talk about that. Like, the very brief. Like I had this conversation with the other day. When Iran fired all those missiles and rockets and whatnot, they were shot down with like 99.7% efficacy. And I just thought, like I was listening to a podcast that talks about Israel's missile defense systems and stuff. And I know this has nothing to do with real estate, so we'll move on quick. But if they are 99.7% effective, what do you think we are? Like the United States shot down some Iranian rockets from 8,000 miles away. Like, what? Like, that is 2 moving objects, 8,000 miles of distance in between. And it was successful. It's just crazy to me. Anyway.
So it made me think of. So I'm not just muting like conspiracy things, just also things that like really serve no purpose and like.
Yeah.
I don't know what I'm doing in life, or like, who cares if I know about this or not? So like, Dubai is underwater.
It is.
And I've been seeing the whole weather seeding or like cloud seeding.
Yeah.
Which I don't know anything about this.
That's
don't care whether it's true or false right now. And
This is the theory that
I'm muting it.
that people that's like a foreign power, like a nefarious foreign power, could seed rainwater and clouds and flood a particular location.
I know, and like
Isn't that what we're talking about?
Yes, but I've seen like Bloomberg's reported on it and other like big credible media, whether media is credible or
Whether
not.
any media is credible,
But
I
like,
get you.
I don't know. I don't know anything about it, so I'll mute. Don't want to see it anymore.
It's a good idea. I don't mute accounts. I probably should.
I mute a ton of Instagram accounts,
should.
mostly real estate agents, but
Yeah. There you go. There you go. All right, well, let's move
go
on to
on.
real
So-
estate. No more tinfoil hat.
yeah, we'll move on. Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac have clarified agent commissions are now counted towards the limits.
Very
Credit
positive, but maddeningly so.
Yeah.
Do
So
you want to know why?
no.
Well,
Yes. Sorry, I do want to know.
so
why.
why I find it maddening.
No.
I'm glad it happened, and why I find it maddening is it paves the way for there to be essentially very little change in how we do business going forward, which makes it hard to stomach the fact that the settlement and the requirements of the settlement ever came to fruition.
Yeah.
Like really, if all we had to do to be compliant is to write our buy-side commissions as a seller's concession in a purchase offer, it's the exact same thing. If the expectation of the industry is that, the commissions can be included in seller concessions, why the need for a collusion lawsuit and the things, which I don't believe they proved collusion in the first place. I find it hard to believe that they did. It's just crazy, man. Like, I don't understand how, I guess it's just, there's, like I've been saying, a lot of really bad real estate agents out there. Like, and being what I feel like is a good one, I think the proof's in the pudding. It's just hard to imagine how the industry became so villainized, and ultimately, I don't know that I've ever seen an industry where, so much good happens. I've witnessed it, and again, I'm not gonna whine. We're fine. I'll be fine. It will be no issue. But I don't know an industry I'm thinking of payday loan places. Like, what legislation? What industry can you think of that does so much good, has had such like crazy change in such a short period of time, and such moral outrage for compensation? Like,
Yeah. My only thought is the reason it boils down to real estate is it is the most expensive asset most people are going to purchase in their life.
I guess.
And who are they going to yell at when it gets too expensive? They're not going to yell at themselves, the government. They're going to yell at the people selling, and that's real estate agents.
I guess that's cool. I mean, it's fine. We'll be fine. I have no issues. I know we will be fine as a result. I know we'll be better off as a result, because ultimately the people being eliminated are the ones who paved the way for this issue to be a problem in the first place. And so, Hannah and I went to Lexington this morning to speak to a group of realtors, and got to tell a lot of what we've been saying on social just in person. And I think it was very receptive. It was upbeat, in fact.
Who had you there to speak?
It was another Remax broker out of Lexington. Went and spoke to a Remax office. They bring in speakers twice a year, and this is a referral partner that we've sent a lot of business to, that has reciprocated quite a bit. Good broker.
Yeah.
Name's Christy Gooch, Remax, in Lexington.
Cool. A lot of good questions from him.
Yeah, a lot of good questions. Just did some talk tracks, talked about commission compression. We talked about, this is an interesting topic that I'll credit. I had a conversation with my coach. The idea that sellers ever paid for a buyer's representation is kind of a silly prospect when you really get down to it. what did a seller actually pay for? Well, what would a seller be willing to pay for? Because you certainly wouldn't pay someone to negotiate against you.
Right.
If you think about that,
Yeah.
right? So a seller pays a finder's fee, right? They incentivize a middle person, an intermediary, to bring them a buyer that results in a successful sale.
Yep.
The buyer has always paid for their own representation, but they just financed it through the sales price. And the majority of people financed it with a loan through the sales price. If we'd have started, so the concept that if we just would have split the fee a long time ago and said, hey, sellers, you pay a finder's fee if you're interested, a bonus, if you will. Okay, which some sellers have, right? Like, bonuses were pretty common. And agents are paid on the buying side by their own client, and we allow it to be financed, like the GSEs, Fannie and Freddie Mac just said that you could do.
Right.
Okay? Would we ever be in this position? If we'd have just said the same exact thing, just explained slightly differently, would it be any different? Because without saying, you kind of have to say numbers, but let's assume a 2.5% total compensation on a buying side, and let's say the seller was okay with a 1% finder's fee, and the agent negotiated a 1.5% commission from their client through a representation agreement similar to the one that we're going to have to use here in a few months when the settlement becomes final.
Maybe
It becomes final. Okay, so a total of 2.5% commission, of which 1% comes from the seller, 1.5% comes from the buyer, and the buyer can finance it.
Yeah.
I don't know that we'd be sitting here. And maybe we're foolish as an industry for not initiating that change a long time ago. So just like trying to take some responsibility. I can't take responsibility for the whole industry. I did what everybody did. I mean, I've been licensed since 2004. I didn't really start selling until 2008. So, this was the way it was done long before me.
Yeah.
But maybe as an industry, we should have pushed for change that provided slightly more transparency, and we wouldn't be in this mess, because I feel like that is kind of above reproach if you really talk about it like that, which is in effect what we've been doing. We just use different words.
Yeah.
So anyway, just a thought.
I think we're going to be good, man. Like you said, I think we're going to be fine. You said 2008. That made me think of, so we'll get back into real estate in a sec, but I had lunch with Hoagland today, Matt Hoagland, and we were talking about, he used to be a PGA professional in 2007, and for you listen, that doesn't mean PGA Tour golfer.
Yeah.
He is a very good golfer, but you're a PGA professional, and he was a pro at Oxmoor Country Club. And he was kicking himself in the butt because you can keep your card for about $200 a year.
Yeah.
And at the time, he was like, I was broke when I stopped when he got into real estate, so he stopped renewing it. But when you're a PGA professional, you can get into the Masters for free every year and any single PGA Tour tournament for free.
I know.
I know. Oh, man.
I mean, that's kind of crazy. It was like we had another friend that apparently had access to Masters tickets.
Jeremy showed me that.
Through one of his buddies who just turned him down.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's like you don't say no to Masters tickets. No. Like you have friends that will pay you for those.
Yeah. So
there's a lottery.
I have
you have to win
issues with the Masters lottery.
See, I don't know anything about it.
You've never filled out for it?
I might have once. The year my parents filled it out, I filled it out, but I didn't get it. They did.
Well, that's awesome for them. So I fill it out every year. Now, I don't know if you're more likely. So you fill out all the days you want.
Right.
When you fill out all the practice rounds, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I don't know if that means you are putting in to get tickets for every day.
Yeah.
Or if you need to just fill out one of the practice rounds or only Thursday. And then
does that make you more likely?
Right. And I've Googled this, can't find anything.
Obviously, Sunday was the hardest ticket for sure. Obviously, I would imagine Saturday is second, followed by Friday, followed by Thursday, followed by practice rounds.
If I could choose any day, I think I'd choose Thursday.
Really?
Over Sunday.
Okay. Why is that? I'm curious. as a golfer, I'm sure you've got an answer there.
Well,
I think people bring more people, more pros.
yeah, more golfers to watch. There's more golf to watch, but I think I'm not there for the suspense. I think I don't go to a golf tournament for the suspense. More just to watch the players, and I think it's a good time, and you're just there for the experience.
Okay.
You don't have to worry about watching every shot because it's Sunday. You can go to the merch tent. You can go get your drinks, your food, talk to your friends.
Right. I can see that. Well, so when the Ryder Cup was here, I got to go to a practice round, and I had Sunday tickets. And I don't know, maybe I was there for the suspense, but like, I remember, the way the Masters, or not the Masters, but the Ryder Cup is played, obviously it can end at any moment, right? So like, I'm over on 18 watching one group and got to see some really cool golf coming up 18. It was a tight match. We found what we thought it was going to end on 17, a few groups ahead. So we took off and literally ran from 18 green, where we had a really good spot posted up, to get to 17 green to watch it end. And sure enough, it did. And that was, I think, JB Holmes, if I remember correctly, was in that final group. But yeah, man, I guess I was there for the suspense, but I don't know what I'm
Ryder
looking
Cup's
at.
different though. Ryder Cup's all suspense.
Yeah, I mean that was also, I think, the last year Anthony Kim played in the Ryder Cup, and he had a really good week. He played against Sergio, and Sergio's the captain emeritus or whatever of the international squad, talks a lot of trash, and he and Kim were going back and forth. Pretty awesome day, to be quite honest. But
God, it doesn't even look the same. But all right, let's move on. More real estate here. So this is from your good buddy Tom Toole, Broke Agent Media. This is an article. He does articles for him every now and then, blogs. And this is 4 addictions that keep real estate agents stuck and unsuccessful. But really, it's just addictions of unsuccessful people, I would say. We'll go through these and just kind of give our opinions on them. So number 1, Tom says, is addiction to the opinions of others. He says some folks are so worried about being liked, they want approval. They want everyone to accept and validate them. They lose focus on the things they should be doing. There's a little more to it, but that's the overall.
Fully agree. And I think that's real estate agents are not exclusive on that. I mean, I think everyone cares.
It's just all unsuccessful people.
I think yeah. Well, that's true. And I don't know that successful people are fully immune. I just think they're better. They're more resistant.
Yeah.
Because you can find your moments, right? Everybody has insecurity. I've always said that. And I think that insecurity is what leads you to really, unfortunately, be affected by the thoughts or the words of others, opinions, if you will. But you can shield it. You can shut it off. You can move past it. And in general, I think you're right. Successful people are just less affected. Yeah. It's water off a duck's back, Yeah.
I think real estate agents, even the successful ones, are the most guilty of caring what others think still. There's a reason they're posting how great they are all the time. Which I get. We've talked, you have to do some of that stuff for your business.
It is interesting. It's a fine line to walk. We joke about the humble brag being we're the most humble bragged.
Yeah. I've kind of changed my approach on this, where it comes to, I don't really take pictures with people after closings anymore. And not because I don't think they want to. I think it feels like a forced thing that sometimes, and just, hey, I want to take a picture. I don't really think they care about that. I think they care that you help them. They're going to refer you to people still. Yeah. And to me, I don't do this for my success and to show off. It's, I want to help people with their buy or sell their home, and that's their success to share. Yeah. And when they share it, they can go ahead and tag me. Yeah. I can comment, and that's great. I think it's their right to show their success if they want to or not.
Doesn't have to be you.
Because it feels weird. Like, who's going to say, no, I don't want to take a picture with you?
Well, I mean, they feel like a jerk for telling you no, and I don't want to put my clients in that position. I never was big on it.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know.
Actually, the
It's
more I
just
see
not
it, I hate it.
It's not my style. It's not my style. Like, closing gifts are not my style.
I don't do closing gifts either. And we've talked about why, but
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, you can provide value in a lot of ways. I don't need to buy your favor. You know, the best gift you can give someone is great service.
Right.
Period.
And I will say, it's not like I haven't ever done closing gifts. Maybe if it makes sense for the house. Like,
Well,
I
when
had
I
some
bu-
clients, they had leaves everywhere, and they didn't have a leaf blower, so I got them a leaf blower. For
There you go.
Closing.
Honestly, I bought the last closing gift I bought was a bottle of Dom. I bought somebody a $350 bottle of
Nice.
champagne. Well, and it was a good sized commission.
Yeah.
They didn't have to use me. They're very smart, sharp people. I did bring some value. It was a new construction purchase, so the construction company was a large construction company, so they were quite involved. But they didn't expect it. In fact, the guy texted me and was like, "Hey, we drink the $2 Chuck around here, you know, like what's that, the $2 wine
Horrible.
from Trader Joe's."
Oh, yeah.
And so it's like, he's like, "I didn't expect this," and I said, "Well, I just wanted to show my appreciation. You didn't have to call me, and so save it for a special occasion.
And you don't drink this with orange juice.
Yeah, don't drink it with don't make mimosas.
Yeah. All right. The second addiction of unsuccessful people, addiction to the past. We've all seen people with this addiction. Think of the high school star quarterback or someone like that. I'm talking about someone who's resting on the laurels they earned as teenagers. Someone so stuck in their glory days that all they can focus on is how great things were 10, 15, 20, or 30 years ago. They fixate on what they accomplished then instead of taking risks now, getting aggressive now, and doing things that are going to benefit them now.
Yeah.
Number 3 of unsuccessful people, reading. Me.
Well, about the addiction to the past, like how many ways have we illustrated we had a meme post go out today about veteran agents salty about the success of newbie agents, right? And real estate is no different. How often do you hear Zillow is this, and you know how the industry has changed and how it's not to the benefit of the consumer. These agents, they don't want to do anything any differently. They want to do it the same way they've always done it. You know, again, not to make too much of it, but like all these are reasons why the NAR settlement and the Sitzer-Burnett trial were successful in creating industry change, is that we have been so resistant to change over time. You know what I mean? And if you're not growing and adapting and evolving and constantly earning your spot, right, in this industry as a successful real estate agent, you're going to get involuntarily retired.
Yeah.
And addiction to the past is, well, in my day, well, it's not your day anymore. Sorry.
Yeah.
So anyway, all right.
Number 3, I think this is the most relative one to real estate agents. It's addiction to worry. This one can be crippling. I've seen a lot of people get so paralyzed by what they think may happen that they won't allow themselves to actually let things play out a little bit.
So a couple of things come to mind there. You know, you ever met the agent that the second a problem happens, regardless of how small or how large, they have to like word vomit it all over the client within seconds.
Yeah.
A lot of problems solve themselves, right? And, you know, yeah, you keep your client informed, absolutely. But I like to convey a problem once a solution has been arrived.
Yeah.
Let me find a solution, and then let me convey the problem and the solution in the same conversation. Let it play out. Let it simmer. Like but I get you. The worry is something. I also see, the other thing I think of is I think of really successful agents. that work themselves into, a bad personal life out of fear that if they don't take every opportunity from start to finish, that somehow their business is going to implode.
Yeah.
Like famously told one of our most productive agents here before, we were very, very close before this person came to this brokerage. And I remember I was sitting at the St. Patrick's Day Parade in the Highlands with, my, 5-year-old and, toddler. And I, on a Saturday evening, beautiful Saturday evening, it was actually unseasonably warm and very nice, watching the floats, and I get a text, and I'd been telling this person who was at that same moment showing, a rundown $60,000, beat up house as an investment property on a beautiful Saturday afternoon. And this person sells more real estate than 99% of real estate agents in the city. And I remember texting a picture of the float and says, this is what I'm doing. Like, you don't have to do this.
Yeah.
Like there are choices. You can have a life and a career at the same time. But this person always struggled because they thought if any client came asking and they said, I'm not interested, then that was be the last client they ever had. Somehow that was going to spider web out and change everything. And it's just not true. So worry in two different ways.
Yeah. When I hear worry, I think of also the agent that doesn't necessarily know how to handle the specific deal. Let's say it's an investment property or a rental, and they've never listed a rental before, and they don't know how to run comps on the rental, and they don't know how to talk to other agents about the rental or what documents are needed, or what they need to upload, and they're so terrified of doing it wrong, they just let the deal skip them altogether.
Well, yeah, and they don't even stand up and tell the client, "Hey, I don't know how to do this. Let me get you with somebody else." They just don't return the call.
Yeah, I've said for a few years now that one of the number one mistakes agents can make is pretending like they know everything instead of saying, I don't know, but I will find out for you. People can tell when you don't know.
Yeah, this is true.
Like,
equally big problem.
There's upswings, there's downswings, and when you don't know, you're probably not thinking of if you're using an upswing or downswing. And people will know if they should trust you or not. When
absolutely.
you answer something like what you're talking about, even though you don't.
Yeah.
Like, just say you don't know. Nobody knows everything. It's okay. The only person that knows everything is Jay.
No. No. I've told plenty of people I don't know.
Yeah.
I really do. I've seen a lot, but yeah, I don't know it all.
Yeah.
No shot. Now, you can confidently convey what you do know, and you can be confident in saying, I don't know. Those are both possibilities. Get somebody involved that does know. You're a connector as a real estate agent. You know somebody.
Yeah.
You know somebody in your office, or somebody in your office knows somebody that you can call that will be friendly enough, and you can offer them a referral fee or something to school you or help you, or you can pass the deal off to them and be a hero to your client because you were big enough to say so.
Yeah, and two other things I would say about this. If you're naturally a worrier, this probably is not the job for you.
Oh, no.
And the agents that probably end up being the most successful are naively not worried enough and just take every deal they can, every client they can, mess up a ton in the beginning, and it probably gets them in a little bit of trouble. And maybe other agents will think they're not good for a little bit, but they'll figure it out, and they'll learn faster than any other new agent that enters the industry.
Yeah, totally agree.
All right, number 4 on this list, addiction to drama. We've all seen what this looks like. For people addicted to drama, there's always something wrong. There's always something urgent. They're talking to other folks and about other folks instead of doing something that's going to help them move ahead. If you're a real estate agent listening to this, you definitely know a couple of people in your office like this. They always are talking about their deals like they're the worst thing, and not realizing, hey, everybody in this office is a real estate agent. We all have bad deals going around. There's a time and place for it all. And, for our office, it's Friday morning roundtables to get things out. But
they hang out in the break room, ready to talk talk about all the challenges and the trials and tribulations of the deal with the client from, that is so frustrating. And yeah, I mean, that's one thing in our meetings. I am very careful not to let them devolve into these complaint sessions because frankly, anybody, even a good real estate agent, a well-meaning individual, it's easy to get dragged into. But we all know those individuals who do it more than others.
Yeah. Oh, big time.
And so, those are the people that need some help. And here in this office, I'm the one because, a lot of times they'll come to me and they'll want to give me the full 360 degrees, and I don't need it. I need the facts. So I cut through. And, thankfully I've got the trust and the appreciation of our agents. And so they don't get angry when I cut them short. I just say, hey, look, I don't have a lot of time and I need to get you an answer. So let's cut all the sideline and the drama and let's get to the facts.
Yep. And then, we've talked about this, but usually they answer their own question.
Always.
Or there's not even a question.
If they can ask a question, I'll say, okay, I couldn't tell you. Okay, what do you need from me? Okay, what is the question? Okay, what do you think the answer to that question is? And when you give them that, they almost always answer their own question.
I can remember just, when I was a new agent 6 years ago, which, I mean, it's just crazy. It's been 6 years and change.
Time flies.
But I remember Jade saying this to me my first few months. It's just, especially that Tony just said it in.
What do you think the answer is?
Yeah.
Got the downswing, quiet, calm. Learned that from the best, man. Jim Bramlett taught me that.
Yeah.
Jim Bramlett taught me that. He had this quiet way of making you feel like the thing you were worked up about wasn't that big a deal.
Yeah. Honestly.
And it usually isn't.
What I've learned to use that for is with the agents on the other side of a deal.
Oh, yeah.
What do you want me to do about it?
Yeah. Okay. What are you expecting?
Yeah.
All right. What are you hoping to achieve?
Yeah.
That's another good one.
And usually they'll just sit there and then they'll literally tell you.
Yeah.
Or they'll be like, well, I guess nothing.
Yeah. Okay, great. Sounds good. See you at the closing.
That's what I use, and it works great.
Oh, it does. I mean, the second you realize, and I everything I do as a broker, I used to do as an agent, right? It's I used to eat all negotiations just about influence and leverage.
Yeah.
And when you understand that, the keys to the castle are provided, you just unlock all the doors.
Yeah. I think that's what you have to say in 99% of convos where there's a negotiation though is what do you want?
What are you hoping to achieve?
Yeah. That's great. All right. If you use this on me and we have a deal together, I'm going to know.
I'm sure I will. I won't be able to help it. Right?
No, I'm talking to agents listening to this right now in Louisville.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. I thought you meant me. I was
No.
Dude, I can't help myself. You know this.
All right. Let's move on. So Louisville property taxes, assessments are going up. Did you see this come out yesterday?
I did.
So I think on average it's like a 20% increase is what they're looking at right now.
Yeah, so
it's pretty substantial.
It is. It's needed though. Unfortunately, I hate to say that. Everything is more expensive. This morning in Lexington, Hannah, I don't know if you were there in time for this, but the PVA, the Fayette County PVA spoke before me. Which was kind of cool to hear. I don't own property in Fayette County, so I'm not affected. But they talked about a community, I forget what county it was, just outside of Lexington, that did on average 85% increases because they hadn't assessed in a long time, and it was a very low price on average in this community that had become much more popular.
Yeah.
And prices literally overnight went from, the median price went from 119 to 239,000. And this is what you're seeing out there, Ryan. I mean, those numbers should shock you, right? But you're talking about a very a very borderline rural, more suburban community outside a small city of Lexington, Kentucky. That is a a good alternative to living in Fayette County and in Lexington
Yeah.
within a commuting distance with a lot of new construction homes, right? Because there's land availability and, the cost of new construction and your median home price just explodes. So the price to live in that community, now I'm not hearing any complaints of gentrification there, but yeah, the price just explodes because all of a sudden, right, every 2/3 of the houses there are twice the price of what the former average sales price are.
Yeah, it's and I think we've talked Louisville property taxes. While some might think it's very high, it's for a
Low.
big city. It's some of the most reasonable property
Quite
taxes
low.
in the country.
Yeah, quite low.
We're the 16th biggest city
Yeah.
in the country.
Yeah.
Why might not feel like that to some people? We are, and typically
the state of Kentucky has low property tax. Ohio is substantially higher, and we share a border with Ohio. Indiana is slightly higher. We share a border, obviously, with them. Tennessee is substantially higher. Now, Tennessee doesn't have income tax, so you would expect that. But yeah, I mean, we have very, very reasonable property taxes.
And now that doesn't mean that it might not make things more difficult for people in Louisville if wages don't keep up, which I would say wages probably aren't keeping up with inflation and property taxes and insurance right now. And that was actually a question I had following this, Jay, was do you think whether it's 5, 10, 15, 20 years down the road, do you think insurance rate and property taxes have a chance to crater the housing market before rates or foreclosures do?
I mean, I don't think so.
Certain states
Brian.
more than others,
I
probably.
mean, certain states more than others. They certainly have an outsized effect on fixed income households, whether it be, government assisted or elderly individuals. But yeah, I don't think so. I mean, the relative cost of taxes and insurance compared to the cost of ownership is still very low. Now you're seeing some like in coastal states, you're seeing things. Florida's exploding. Property tax is already high in Florida, and homeowners insurance is going crazy.
Or not non-existent for some homes right now.
Well, we've had some catastrophic events, that have, and that's the thing that you don't realize, right? We've had tornadoes in the state of Kentucky, and the timing is really impactful, right? You've got impactful timing because had that tornado, there's no good time for it to ever happen, but had it happened in 2019, the cost to rebuild would have been substantially less, right? Now we're talking about Kentucky. Now go to the coast and think about lack of available labor. Florida is already booming, right? Lots of buildings, so you have demand, issues. You have supply constraints, things that balloon pricing. And when you rebuild as a cost of insurance, like they rebuild no matter what.
Yeah,
they don't wait to rebuild for prices to come down or for better options to happen. So like this is kind of a captive environment, and so like when they pay out, right, claims, they have to raise premiums or else they go broke.
Yep.
And that's pretty much the situation. Actuaries and actuarial tables that they take in and analyze to determine premiums, they don't account for black swan events. At least they try, but they can't adequately do that.
Yeah.
They just can't.
All right. Let's move on.
Hey, real quick.
Yeah.
Have you heard about the new changes to the JCPS busing situation? It was as a result of JCPS meeting. Since we're talking about property tax, which primarily goes to pay for public schooling, I think that's kind of an important caveat.
Yeah.
I don't claim to be but it's something to watch. I don't claim to be an expert on it, but essentially, okay, JCPS, which we know is a school system that is one of the very few in the nation that practice busing, to kind of desegregate communities, et cetera, is now going to cease bus services to certain schools around the city of Louisville. And it's essentially because, I don't think I'm out of line in saying this, it has been determined that they cannot execute full bus service to all of their schools efficiently enough to allow. Do you know that there are children that do not arrive to school earlier than 10 a.m. in the morning? Like some of them an hour or more every single day as a result. So they are having to excuse.
Doesn't school start at 7:50?
No, it's actually later.
Wasn't that when E-Town started?
Growing up, a lot of schools do start that early. Private schools do start that early. I drop my kids off at 7:35 every morning. JCPS has staggered scheduling to allow for busing. Some of them don't get out till like 4 p.m. But there are kids that are arriving at school an hour after school starts every single day. They have an excused absence every single day as a result of the busing situation. And supposedly now it is going to be parents' responsibility for the majority. Now, reside students, which is essentially when you go to your neighborhood school, which is a good portion of JCP, they will still have bus services because those aren't the ones that are the issue. The ones that are the issue, that is when you board a bus in Northwest Jefferson County and ride a bus 45 minutes to Southeast Jefferson County to go to school. It wasn't efficient. So, yeah, apparently a lot of those bus services are going to cease. Kind of crazy.
And property taxes are going up.
And property taxes will probably continue to go up.
All right.
Even though they're not going to spend that much money on busing.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. I don't know.
The concern is
JCPS has had some problems for a while now.
Well, the concern is that it disproportionately affects underprivileged. When you have, underprivileged kids that go to magnet schools that are a substantial distance from their neighborhood, those parents are not in a position. If there are parents, those parents are not in a position to drive their kids to school in the morning. So those kids all of a sudden lose access to the magnet school programs or the honors programs that they've achieved or been admitted to. Kind of crazy.
It is. All right. I got a question for you. If you could go back in time, Jay, to when there were no rules about Airbnbs in Louisville, you could buy a house, make it Airbnb pretty easy. Would you make the choice to buy homes and make them long-term rentals, or would you make them Airbnbs?
I would still buy long-term rentals.
Okay.
I would still buy long-term rentals. And let me say this. It's kind of an end around, because what you're essentially telling me is going back to the time when do I know what's about to happen?
Right.
Okay, because I know what happened. You're asking me the places that Airbnb are the best are areas that have seen substantial appreciation, which everywhere has, but probably peak appreciation.
Yeah.
And I could have bought those properties at substantially lower than current prices, and I'd probably hold them as long-term. The reason why I wouldn't do Airbnb, despite it being a great income source, is I'm just not in a position, to manage them.
Yeah.
It's why our property management company doesn't manage Airbnbs.
Yeah.
It's too labor intense.
Yeah, I get that. It was something I was thinking of, because it seems like right now it's so hard to buy a house and get it
Approved
to be an Airbnb.
But the demand is certainly there.
Yeah.
The demand is there and growing, which as supply stays constrained, it's going to drive prices up, which could go back in favor of local hotels. Obviously, we have hotel bottleneck a couple of weeks a year here based on large events.
About to start happening now.
Yeah. So
got Thunder this weekend.
Thunder over Louisville's this weekend, followed by, Derby in 2 weeks.
Followed by the marathon.
Well, the marathon's prior to Derby, but followed by the marathon and the Derby, and PGA not far after that. So
Bourbon and Beyond.
It's
lots busy summer. Yeah. Jack Harlow has his new concert series.
What about are we getting what's the music festival on the river? Are we getting that back? Fort Castle?
Fort Castle.
Is Fort Castle happening? What, didn't they take a year off?
Hannah needs a mic.
Yeah, I know. Hannah definitely needs a mic. Dynamite drop in, Hannah. Okay, so yeah, I mean, we have enough large scale events here to make Airbnb worthy. But like again, hotels have taken a hit. I don't know. Have we talked about this? Sometimes I like a hotel better, and sometimes I don't.
Yeah, we have. I like hotels better.
I like the service of the hotel. I like the hotel bar. I like the social aspect.
Well, we've talked about like hotels are better if it's just you or your wife.
Yeah,
But,
me and
like,
my wife.
So, we're all doing this. We're doing a golf trip.
Yeah,
next
Airbnb
year.
is better for that.
Like an Airbnb would be so much fun.
A bunch of couples going to the beach or even taking your kids to the beach.
Yeah.
Airbnb.
Yeah.
100%. Different bedrooms.
Sounds like we're playing a lot of golf. We're playing 90 holes of golf in 3 days.
Supposedly.
Yeah. I could see some people, I think
Skipping
he
out.
said 36, 18, 36.
That's what he wants to do. I think that's a lot.
I think it's a lot personally too. I love golf, but
I think 27, 18, 27.
people are going to go a little too hard. Like you talked about in Vegas last week, the
Dude,
first night or two.
fatigued.
Be a little banged up coming in the next day. But honestly, that's when I play my best golf.
Okay. All right. Knock on wood.
Yeah.
All right. What else you got for us today?
Let's see. We'll do one more question. All right. Here's a fun one. Is there a skill or talent that you wish you had? Like you see other people do this, you're like, man, I wish I was able to do that, or like
A skill or talent? I mean, I think I'm generally appreciative of pretty much all skills. I don't know, all. Lots of skills and talents that I know I don't possess. I think it'd be cool to be a great singer. I think it'd be cool to be a great dancer. I'm neither of those. I think it'd be cool to be a scratch golfer. I'm not that. I probably never will be. You notice how I said probably? I think I could.
I guess so golf though, you could. I mean, if that's all you did for 5-10 years, you could learn to be a scratch golfer. So like things that like you really can't learn. So for me, mine is writing. Like I wish I was a really good copywriter and could get the thoughts I have in my head out well to paper. I think like when I see people that are able to do that, it's one of the coolest things, I think.
Yeah.
My mom's incredible at it. She's an incredible writer, and she can even get my thoughts in my head out on paper better than I can do it.
Well,
and it's just, I think it's one of the coolest skills.
no, that is cool. I would say the thing that comes to mind, and it probably comes from youth and my athletic days, I was never very fast. I wish I could run. I wish I could run really fast. Like I could run long distances and do okay, but I never could.
You could care less about that now, though.
I could care less about it now, but it's what I wanted then.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I mean, I don't know now. That's the thing, Ryan. I'm pretty satisfied, honestly, with where I am in life.
Yep.
And it's funny. It's been a nice change since I was probably your age, frankly, because I was pretty manic about being successful when I was 10 to 15 years younger. And borderline probably unhealthy at times. Just obsessed.
Yeah.
And do anything, sacrifice anything, go all the time. And that's something that's changed. And what really cemented that change was the realization that I started having more success when I let go of that, And I don't know that I would have started as well, or I would have been in a position to be as successful had I not done it. So I don't regret the journey, but and I've said often, I asked a lot of those around me to allow me to do that. My wife specifically, and I don't know. I don't really crave anything. I have to think about what I wanted when I was a high school kid. When I was a really good baseball player that was one tool short of actually being special,
Yeah.
and that's what it was. So I don't know. Other than that, there isn't anything.
All right, scratch golfer it is.
Scratch golfer would be really cool, but I know I'm not going to be able to give it time. Not until retirement, and then my body will give out.
Golf never gets less frustrating.
No, I'm sure it doesn't.
Even if you're
great. Even if you're great. It's funny, I don't know if you know, Hoagie shared his index today. Well, he shared that because it went up, and he was upset. And Scott replied in a group text, "That's strong."
Yeah.
You know, and it was the opposite comment that he was trying to make. Like he was frustrated.
At this point, I'm fine with my handicap getting worse. Like,
I mean, it is what it is, man.
You basically have zero chance to win any handicapped event if you're a scratch golfer.
Hokie said yesterday that he is scared to play me for money because he would have to give me so many strokes. He beat me by 10 strokes on 9 yesterday, and he goes, "Dude, I'd have lost."
Yeah.
Because I'd have had to give you, if you look at your handicap, I'd have had to give you more strokes than we. So I do understand that a guy like me is pretty dangerous in money matches if I show up, because I can shoot much better than my handicap, right? I just can't do it consistently. And so, like, when you show up, it's like, it is dangerous. I'm a dangerous scramble player, and I'm a dangerous money player.
I consider myself one of the best trash talkers on the golf course.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
That's good. Is that all we got for today?
Yeah, that's all I got.
Awesome. Well, folks, we appreciate you tuning in. Like I said, we are like Ryan said, we are the real estate show that doesn't talk only real estate. You're going to get a whole lot of personal color here and there, but nevertheless, we do appreciate you tuning in. You can find me on all the socials at JPitts Realtor. You can find Ryan at ryanharris.re. We appreciate your follow and engagement. The socials have been taking off over the past few weeks, so certainly we appreciate you and your attention over there as well. Again, that's all for this week. We'll catch you next week here on the JPitts Show. No longer, you know what I almost just did? On
1080.
Talk Radio 1080. No longer on Talk Radio 1080, only where you podcast and pretty much anywhere you podcast. Again, JPitts Show. We'll catch you next week.